Good evening, and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation's pre-construction public information meeting for project number 102-295, median reconstruction and resurfacing of I-95 in Norwalk and Westport. My name is Brett Stark, and I'm a senior project manager for BL Companies working on behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I would like to welcome everyone who is taking the time to tune in for tonight's presentation. We hope this will be informative and we are able to answer all your questions and concerns so that by the time we're done here this evening, you will have a better understanding of what to expect during the upcoming construction of this project. Before I get into the presentation and introduce the project team, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and explain tonight's format. Our presentation will last approximately 40 minutes, and once it is completed, we will host a live question and answer session. You will have three means of communicating with us during the live Q&A session. You can send an email, leave a voicemail, or if you are watching this on MS Teams, you can post your question in the chat field to the right of your screen. The project team will monitor the project email, phone, and chat periodically during the presentation and Q&A session. The questions asked by any of these methods will be posted to the MS Teams Q&A chat window. We will read all the questions out loud for the project team to answer. You can ask questions at any time during the presentation, but we will only answer these during the live Q&A session. For those that are joining this presentation via Microsoft Teams, you have the option to view captions or subtitles. To turn on this feature, select the CC button at the bottom right corner of your screen. This turns on the captioning. Next, to choose the language, go to the settings wheel next to the CC button, select Captions, then Subtitles, and then pick the desired language. The available languages for this presentation are English, Spanish, and Creole. As I mentioned, there are three means of communicating with the project team during this presentation. The first is by sending an email to the project email box, which is dotproject102-295@ct.gov. Again, that's DOTP102-295@ct.gov. You can also reach us by telephone and leave a voicemail. The number is 860-944-1111. If you join us using MS Teams Live, you can also use the chat function, which I will explain on the next slide. A recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the Q&A session, will be stored on the project webpage. The webpage can be found at portal.ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. Again, that's portal.ct.gov/DOT NORWALKWESTPORT 102-295. Lastly, please remember that you can ask questions or provide comments through June 17th, 2021, either via email or telephone. The MS Teams chat function is only available during tonight's live Q&A session. For those of you joining us through the MS Teams live event, there is a chat function available that allows you to ask questions and communicate with us. In this format, you can ask a question by clicking on the little question mark, which is Show Q&A. This will bring up your live event Q&A field. This is shown in the picture on the right of the slide. Select the Ask a Question button at the bottom of the screen, and a field will pop up where you can type your question and then either hit Enter or the little arrow button to send. You can also check the box at the bottom to post your question anonymously if you prefer. There will be a slight delay, but eventually your question will appear in the featured section with all other questions asked tonight. Please remember that the MS Teams chat function is only available during the live Q&A session. We would like you to know that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project, and that there is a civil rights flyer available. We would also greatly appreciate if you could fill out the voluntary post-meeting survey the department has through SurveyMonkey. The results of this survey will help us improve these public meetings going forward. The links to both the civil rights flyer and the survey are located on the previously mentioned project webpage. A recording of the formal presentation will be posted to YouTube after the live event concludes. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available at that time. Before I introduce the project team, I'm going to take a moment to map out tonight's presentation. As I said at the start, the primary focus will be on what to expect during the upcoming construction phase. However, as it has been a few years since we last presented this project in a public forum, and for those who may not be familiar with the job, we're going to start with some basics, including location and the scope of the proposed work. From there, we'll touch briefly upon some specific elements that were incorporated during final design, in some cases as a result of feedback from previous presentations. From there, we will proceed into the upcoming construction and discuss traffic impacts associated therewith. A central portion of the discussion will focus on the replacement of bridge number 62, which carries I-95 over Saugatuck Avenue, or Route 33, at interchange 17 in Westport. This will be an accelerated bridge construction activity, similar to what was previously performed by the department at I-95 interchange number 9 in Stamford back in 2019, or on Route 8 in Bridgeport before that. Now I'm going to introduce members of the project team. The design phase of this project has been administered by DOT's Division of Highway Design. Michael Calabrese is the division chief, and Andy Fessenmeyer is the project manager. As noted earlier, my name is Brett Stark. I'm a senior project manager with BL Companies. BL is the consultant liaison engineer for the Division of Highways. This means that we have been tasked with the day-to-day oversight and management of this project and various other projects. Joining me tonight are members of my team, including Justine Hines, Dominic Seltruda, and Daniel Bysensky. Over the course of the design phase, the Division of Highways has been supported by our counterparts in DOT's Division of Bridges. This includes Timothy Fields, Suate Lamote, and Mezia Meziani. Also joining us this evening are representatives of the design firm for this project, AECOM. This includes John Hapkowitz, Jeffrey Keith, Timothy Ryan, and Jonathan Ives. And last, but certainly not least, we have the folks from the District 3 Office of Construction who will be responsible for overseeing the contractor's activities during the construction phase of the project. They include Dominic LaRosa, the district engineer, Matthew Cleary, the assistant district engineer, John Delaberto, and Robert Nowak. Project 102-295 generally encompasses an approximate 2-mile stretch of I-95 in Norwalk and Westport. It begins at the eastern edge of the Norwalk River, which is located just west of interchange 16, and continues to the eastern edge of the Saugatuck River, encompassing the bridge carrying I-95 over the Saugatuck River. Within the project corridor are a number of existing structures. There are currently existing construction projects that are ongoing regarding the I-95 bridge over the Norwalk River, also known as the Yankee Doodle Bridge, and the bridge that carries Strawberry Hill Avenue over I-95. The next two slides make use of some Google Maps imagery for the purpose of establishing a frame of reference for some of the topics that will be discussed later on in the presentation. In this case, we have interchange 16 in Norwalk. Please note Hendricks Avenue, which is located north of I-95 and crosses under the Yankee Doodle Bridge on the left side of the screen. We also have the Hendricks Avenue commuter parking lot and the I-95 interchange 16 northbound on-ramp. And on this slide, we have interchange 17 in Westport. Located in the approximate center of the image is bridge number 62, which again carries I-95 over Saugatuck Avenue or Route 33. Please also note the location of the southbound off-ramp and northbound on-ramp to I-95. Regarding purpose and need, Project 102-295 can be considered a safety improvements project. The work that we are proposing will enhance the safety of the corridor for motorists and commuters, maintain this corridor in a state of good repair, and be consistent with other previous construction projects throughout the I-95 corridor. I would like to note that Project 102-295 does not include any new or additional lanes or other provisions to increase the overall capacity of I-95 at this location. So let's talk about what this project entails. In keeping with its designation as a safety improvements project, this stretch of I-95 will be upgraded to meet present-day design standards. This includes wider inside and outside shoulders, along with the installation of a new concrete median. A new illumination system will be constructed as part of the new median, and the existing guide rail throughout the corridor will be replaced. We also will be extending the Interchange 16 northbound on-ramp, as I will detail in a few moments. Also, the existing concrete pavement base will be exposed and repaired as needed, and the entire corridor, inclusive of all ramps, will be repaved. If you have ever been traveling I-95 in the vicinity of Interchange 16 during a heavy rainstorm, you may have noted the tendency of water to pond up in the outside shoulder. This is due to the existing highway drainage system in this area being undersized. As part of Project 102-295, not only will we be replacing some of the existing drainage pipe, we will also be installing a supplemental system to ensure that the flooding of the highway no longer occurs. In conjunction therewith, and in compliance with the state's MS4 permit requirements, we will also be installing some water quality measures to treat the stormwater before it is discharged into the Norwalk River. Bridge-wise, as noted previously, we will also be fully replacing Bridge 62 over Saugatuck Avenue. In addition, we will be undertaking maintenance repairs to Bridge 63, which is over Franklin Street, and Bridge 64 over the Saugatuck River. The purpose of this slide is to illustrate the existing conditions within the project corridor. Please note the existing grass median and minimal width of the interior shoulders. By comparison, this photograph, which was taken in Greenwich, is representative of the proposed condition, specifically the center concrete median and the wider interior shoulders. The existing Interchange 16 northbound on-ramp is an old taper-type ramp that currently only provides approximately 100 feet to merge into I-95 northbound. This means that as drivers accelerate along the ramp from East Avenue, they suddenly find themselves faced with the need to determine if they can safely merge or need to stop and wait for the through lane to clear. As you can imagine, this condition has precipitated a number of crashes over the years. In an effort to address this issue, as part of Project 102-295, the on-ramp will be extended to provide a modern parallel type ramp with approximately 1,050 feet of merge length. This meets current design standards and will provide drivers with greater time and opportunity to make the merge into I-95. This graphic includes work to be performed in the vicinity of Hendricks Avenue and Interchange 16. The supplemental I-95 drainage mentioned earlier is highlighted in blue, while the existing drainage system is represented by the non-highlighted black lines. As depicted, the new drainage system includes the installation of a new underground infiltration system beneath the Hendricks Avenue commuter parking lot, which itself is being reconstructed and expanded as part of Project 102-295. After passing through the infiltration system, water will be conveyed in a new vegetated swale, represented by the green, that runs parallel to Hendricks Avenue and under the Yankee Doodle Bridge. A new pipe will be installed under Hendricks Avenue and tie into the existing outlet into the Norwalk River, which will be reconstructed. Shown in orange is a segment of the City of Norwalk's Yankee Doodle Trail. Per an agreement with the city, the state's contractor will construct this segment of the trail in conjunction with the rest of the work along Hendricks Avenue. The city has agreed to reimburse the state for this effort, the cost of which is currently estimated at approximately $200,000. From past projects and presentations, we are keenly aware that the clearing of trees along the highway is a sensitive topic. To this extent, for 102-295, we have sought to employ a common sense approach that maintains a buffer to adjacent neighborhoods and residences while also employing principles of risk management to ensure that trees or limbs that pose a potential hazard to the traveling public could be addressed. The first step in this process was for design team representatives to conduct a multi-day field assessment of the project corridor along with representatives from DOT maintenance. Trees that were identified as dead or dying and determined to potentially impact traffic along the main line and ramps, or those which may pose an immediate risk to a vehicle that unexpectedly leaves the travelway, will be removed, along with patches of invasive vegetation and overgrowth. The 102-295 corridor will also be the site of the pilot reforestation program, which will include the planting of many new trees, both of evergreen and deciduous species. This will further maintain and enhance the buffer areas. Conservation and wildflower seed mixtures will be used in place of traditional grass mixtures to reduce the potential for overgrowth and need for consistent mowing. To summarize the design status, as of the night of this presentation, June 3rd, 2021, all construction documents have been finalized, all utility coordination is complete, and all required permits and rights-of-way have been acquired. The project is being prepared for advertising. The current project schedule anticipates that the project will be advertised and bid this summer, and that construction will begin either late this year or early next year. The overall duration of this project is approximately 3 seasons, so we expect it to conclude by fall of 2024. The construction cost, based on the final design, is estimated to be $98 million. That amount is funded 90% by federal funds and 10% through the state. The Yankee Doodle Trail segment, which was talked about earlier, is being paid for by the city of Norwalk and costs approximately $200,000. At this point, I will be switching to a discussion of construction operations and their associated impacts. We'll begin with Hendricks Avenue. During the construction of the drainage improvements and portion of the Yankee Doodle Trail as shown previously, the contractor shall be required to maintain one lane of traffic in both directions during peak travel periods. During off-peak periods, he will be allowed to establish an alternating one-way traffic operation. Regarding the reconstruction of the commuter parking lot, the contractor will be allowed to reduce its existing capacity. The reconstruction is expected to be completed in 3 stages, with approximately 18 to 25 spaces available during each stage. Moving on to I-95. While undertaking the median reconstruction, shoulder widening, and other activities as previously mentioned, the contractor will be required to maintain the existing number of lanes in each direction during peak periods. While the existing 3 through lanes will be maintained, the width of said lanes and shoulders will be reduced, and lane shifts will be implemented as necessary when entering or exiting the work zone. During off-peak periods, the contractor will be allowed to temporarily reduce the number of available lanes as permitted in the contract documents. During overnight periods, the contractor will be allowed to temporarily close existing ramps and will also be allowed to halt traffic flow for short durations in order to facilitate completion of specifically designated work operations. This graphic serves to illustrate what I described on the previous slide. Stage 1 depicts the existing 3 through lanes and outside shoulders for both directions of I-95. In Stage 2, the width of the through lanes is reduced and they are shifted to the outside to allow for the reconstruction of the median. In Stage 3, once the new median is constructed, the travel lanes are shifted to the inside while work is completed on the outer portions of the travelway. Moving on to the replacement of Bridge 62. These photos depict the existing 3-span bridge with the 2 short approach spans flanking the main span over Saugatuck Avenue. Also, please note the existing utilities which run along Saugatuck Avenue and are carried beneath the bridge. The existing bridge, which has been identified as structurally deficient and in need of major reconstruction, will be replaced with a new single-span structure comprised of steel concrete superstructure on new concrete abutments. For consistency with the safety improvement aspects of Project 102-295, the overall width of the bridge will be increased to provide for the widened shoulders along I-95. As previously noted, in an effort to reduce the overall construction duration and minimize impacts to both the traveling public and local residents and businesses, the bridge replacement will utilize an accelerated construction methodology known as a lateral slide. More on this in a moment. This graphic illustrates a comparison of the overall width of the existing bridge versus the proposed. Note that while both structures feature the same 4 lanes for both barrels of I-95, 3 through lanes and a ramp lane, the increased inside and outside shoulder widths resulted in a total width increase of approximately 28 feet. At this time, I'm going to play an animation developed and narrated by Jonathan Ives of AECOM. This sequence, which lasts approximately 4 minutes, provides a good overview of how the lateral slide replacement of Bridge 62 will be accomplished. Once completed, we will present the construction impacts in greater detail. Lastly, please note that as you watch the animation, the arrows are intended to represent northbound and southbound traffic along I-95. Thank you.
The focus of the stage construction shown in this animation is Bridge 62, which carries I-95 over Saugatuck Ave at the Exit 17 interchange in Westport. At this location, there are 3 lanes of I-95 southbound, 3 lanes of I-95 northbound, a southbound off-ramp, a northbound on-ramp, and bidirectional traffic on Saugatuck Ave. In Stage 1, new retaining walls are built along I-95 to support the widened highway, and new abutments are built beneath Bridge 62 to support the replacement bridge. All lanes of current traffic are maintained on the highway, ramps, and local roads while this construction takes place. In Stage 2, temporary supports are constructed outside the limits of I-95 and Saugatuck Ave. New bridges are built on these temporary supports, spanning over Saugatuck Ave and outside the limits of I-95. Occasional brief closures of Saugatuck Ave will be needed to facilitate crane picks for the bridge construction, but there will be no long-term disruptions to local traffic. Stage 3 will take place over an extended weekend. The I-95 southbound off-ramp and I-95 northbound on-ramp will be closed, and traffic will be restricted from Saugatuck Ave between the ramps. Ramp and local traffic will be detoured around the site. Using movable barrier, I-95 southbound will be restricted to 2 lanes and shifted toward the outside shoulder of the southbound barrel. I-95 northbound will also be restricted to 2 lanes. Using pre-constructed median crossovers, northbound traffic will be shifted onto the southbound barrel. The median crossovers will occur west of Exit 17 and east of the Saugatuck River, allowing work to be performed on the northbound barrels of Bridge 62 over Saugatuck Ave, Bridge 63 over Franklin Street, and Bridge 64 over the Saugatuck River. Back at Bridge 62, with the median crossovers in place, the existing northbound bridge will be demolished, and the new northbound bridge will be slid into place using heavy hydraulic jacks. With the bridge construction complete, normal traffic will be restored to the highway, southbound off-ramp, and local roads. The I-95 northbound ramps will be closed while they are reconstructed to accommodate the widened highway. Once ramp reconstruction is complete, the northbound ramps will be reopened. Stage 4 will take place over another extended weekend. The I-95 southbound off-ramp will be closed. Traffic will be restricted from Saugatuck Ave between the ramps, and ramp and local traffic will be detoured around the site. Using movable barrier, I-95 northbound will be restricted to 2 lanes and shifted toward the outside shoulder of the northbound barrel. I-95 southbound will also be restricted to 2 lanes. Using pre-constructed median crossovers, southbound traffic will be shifted onto the newly reconstructed northbound barrel. Similar to Stage 3, the median crossovers will occur west of Exit 17 and east of the Saugatuck River, this time allowing work to be performed on the southbound barrels of the Saugatuck Ave, Franklin Street, and Saugatuck River bridges. At Bridge 62 over Saugatuck Ave, The existing southbound bridge will be demolished and the new southbound bridge slid into place, again using heavy hydraulic jacks. With the bridge construction complete, normal traffic will be restored to the highway, ramps, and local roads. Stage 5 is a cleanup stage in which the temporary supports are removed from the build areas. Lastly, in Stage 6, final grading and turf establishment are performed, restoring areas that were disturbed during construction.
Thanks, John. As depicted in the animation, there are various activities that need to be completed prior to the implementation of the lateral slide. In addition to the construction of the new retaining walls and abutments and preparations for the crossovers in I-95, these activities also include the relocation of the existing underbridge utilities, which will be transferred to underground conduit within Saugatuck Avenue. Also, the existing driveway to Commuter Lot 8, opposite Charles Street, will be shifted slightly to the south to ensure that it does not conflict with the construction of the new superstructure. Prior to the lateral slide period, traffic operation along I-95 will be handled much similar to what was described previously. That is, during peak hours, the existing number of lanes will be maintained for each direction of traffic, albeit with reduced lane and shoulder widths. Off-peak periods will include temporary lane closures and short-duration stoppages for select construction activities. As John described, along Saugatuck Avenue and other secondary roadways prior to the lateral slide, existing traffic operations will be maintained during peak hours. During off-peak periods, temporary lane closures and short-duration stoppages will be permitted. When necessary, pedestrians will be detoured away from the Saugatuck Avenue Bridge along Franklin Street. During all times, access to business and properties will be maintained. The lateral slide operations are anticipated to occur in fall 2023 over 2 separate non-consecutive weekends. The construction documents provide for a 6-week window between September 15th and November 1st for this to occur. These dates are consistent with prior coordination with Town of Westport officials as well as with our environmental permit restrictions. The extended weekend periods begin at 8 p.m. Friday and run to 6 a.m. the following Monday. In advance of these periods and throughout them as well, there will be a substantial messaging campaign to alert users of the major construction activity. As we have done in the past on other accelerated construction projects, we will work with neighboring states to encourage trucks and other through travelers to make use of the alternate routes such as I-84. The contract documents also contain provisions for financial penalties or liquidated damages should the contractor fail to complete and restore operations prior to the end of the weekend period. It also includes financial incentives should they complete work ahead of schedule. As shown in the animation, during the lateral slide periods, one barrel of I-95 will be closed and traffic will be shifted via median crossover to allow for 2 lanes of through traffic in each direction in the barrel which remains open. It is important to note that during these periods, both the I-95 northbound on-ramp and southbound off-ramp at interchange 17 will be closed. Signed detours will be implemented directing local traffic to the northbound on-ramp at interchange 18, otherwise known as the Sherwood Island Connector. Similarly, southbound traffic will be directed to exit the highway at interchange 18, and a signed detour along state roadways such as routes 1, 33, and the Sherwood Island Connector will be provided. During the lateral slide weekends, Saugatuck Avenue will be closed between Charles Street and the I-95 southbound ramps. Vehicles will be detoured around the site via Riverside Avenue, Charles Street, and Park Street. Pedestrians will be detoured via Franklin Street. During these periods, to assist in managing the increased traffic, state and local police will have a presence at key intersections. This graphic depicts the closure of Saugatuck Avenue during the lateral slide periods and the detours as described in the previous slide. Again, vehicular traffic will be directed around the site via Park Street, Charles Street, and Riverside Avenue. Pedestrians will be directed to a detour via Franklin Street. Regarding the ramps at interchange 17, in order to match into the new widened bridge, The northbound ramps will need to be fully reconstructed. This will require a 12-day continuous closure of the on-ramp and a 5-day continuous closure of the off-ramp. This is anticipated to occur in fall 2023 between the two lateral slide weekends. During this period, traffic will be detoured via interchange 18 as previously described. For the I-95 southbound ramps at interchange 17, we anticipate daytime off-peak closures for rock slope maintenance and overnight closures for repaving. Again, during these periods, detours will be provided via interchange 18. In addition to the lateral slide installation of the new Bridge 62, there are other specialized work operations that will be performed as part of Project 102-295. Specific to the issue of controlled blasting, the contract documents limit the performance of this work to daylight off-peak hours. It further requires a minimum 2-hour period between detonations. The contractor is also responsible for the containment and collection of any debris generated by the blasting operation. Nighttime work will be required under Project 102-295 as well. This slide lists some examples of anticipated night work activities, including the installation and relocation of temporary concrete barriers and the removal and eventual reinstallation of the bituminous overlay. Somewhat related to night work, but not exclusively so, is the issue of construction noise. Generally speaking, DOT follows state and OSHA guidelines with a 90 decibel limit for construction noise exposure, which is equivalent to that of the noise generated by a power mower. If a party files a noise complaint during construction, DOT will perform a due diligence investigation. If the observed noise level at the point of reception exceeds the 90 decibel limit, efforts will be made to reduce the noise level at the point of generation. One of the most frequently asked questions related to construction noise is if there is any way to limit the use of backup beeper type alarms. However, the use of these alarms is a matter of construction safety. Regarding noise barriers, the ability to use federal funds for the construction of new noise walls along a project corridor is dependent upon meeting specific requirements, such as the construction of a brand new highway or the addition of new lanes to an existing corridor to increase its capacity. Project 102-295 does not meet these criteria. At the state level, the allocation of state funds to construct a new noise wall at a new location requires the approval of the state legislature. No new noise walls are included as part of Project 102-295. DOT believes that early and consistent messaging are critical to mitigating the effects of construction. Earlier, when speaking about the Bridge 62 lateral slide weekends, I referred to a media messaging campaign to get the word out about the major construction activity. While such a campaign is needed for the lateral slide, it is far from the extent of public outreach that will be employed during the construction phase of 102-295. The district construction team will be engaging the use of a communication team during the construction period. This team will assist in answering questions and resolving complaints and may elect to hold future informational meetings at DOT's discretion. This project will also make use of the Smart Work Zone technology. These are the message boards that not only alert drivers to upcoming delays, but also provide an estimated time to pass through the construction zone. It is recognized that when construction begins, 102-295 will be one of several ongoing or planned projects within this region of the state, including continued work along the Merritt Parkway and the various construction activities associated with the replacement of the Walk Bridge. To this extent, DOT has coordinated various projects within the Norwalk Westport region to understand and mitigate potential traffic impacts, mobility requirements, and safety needs. This level of coordination, both internal and external, will continue during the construction phase of 102-295. Thank you all for attending tonight's presentation. We hope that you are better informed of the impending construction activities and associated traffic impacts. We will now provide you with the opportunity to ask questions and provide comments. In case you joined late, there are multiple ways to submit questions or comments should you have them. The first is by email at dotproject102-295@ct.gov. Again, that's DOTPROJECT102-295@ct.gov. The second is by phone, leaving a voicemail at 860-944-1111. If possible, please include the project number or location in your message. Again, that phone number is 860-944-1111. The third is by utilizing the MS Teams live event chat. But, as a reminder, this function is only available during the live presentation. For those of you viewing this event via YouTube Live, you will not have access, nor will you be able to view the MS Teams live event chat function. Should you have any questions or comments, you will need to submit them via email or phone. The email and phone numbers can be found inside the description underneath the video screen. Please keep in mind you will need to copy and paste the email into your preferred email platform. The comment period for this project will be open until June 17th, 2021. I would also like to encourage attendees to take the brief voluntary post-meeting survey at the SurveyMonkey link found at the project webpage. The information in this survey will help us improve our public outreach on future presentations. The project webpage can be found at portal.ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. Again, that's PORT.CT.GOV/DOT102-295. As a reminder, YouTube Live participants will not have access to the MS Teams live event chat and will need to submit your questions using the email or phone number. The email address, phone number, and project webpage link can be found in the description. As a note, the webpage link is an active link, but if you wish to send an email, you will need to copy and paste the email link to your preferred platform. For those of you joining us through the MS Teams live event, there is a chat function available that allows you to ask questions and communicate with us. In this format, you can ask a question by clicking on the little question mark, which is Show Q&A. This will bring up your live event Q&A field. This is shown in the picture on the right of the slide. Select the Ask a Question button at the bottom of the screen, and a field will pop up where you can type your question and then either hit Enter or the little arrow button to send. You can also check the box at the bottom to post your question anonymously if you prefer. There will be a slight delay, but eventually your question will appear in the featured section with all other questions asked tonight. Please remember that the MS Teams chat function is only available during the live Q&A session. During the question and answer session, questions will be posted to the Q&A chat field of the presentation. A moderator will post these questions to the MS Teams Q&A chat, and these questions can be viewed by clicking the Featured tab in the live event chat as shown in the image in the middle of your screen. Thank you for your patience while I went through these items.
Good evening, everyone. That concludes the presentation portion of tonight's event. My name is Dominic Celtruda. I'm a consultant liaison engineer with BL Companies on behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation. What we're doing right now is we're going to be shifting over to the question and answer session. If you've submitted your questions, we are receiving them and they're being posted to the Q&A currently. I'm going to begin with the first question. Why are new shoulder widths so wide? I believe that will be handled by Brett Stark, BL Company's liaison engineer.
Good evening, Dominic. Sorry about that. I was on mute. Yes, so in response to the question about the proposed shoulder widths, again, as noted, this project is a safety improvement project. The proposed 12-foot shoulder widths are consistent with current DOT and federal design standards. Part of that width determination, that standard determination, is based on the volume of truck traffic in this area.
Thank you for that response, Mr. Stark. I do want to remind our YouTube people that are watching through YouTube, if you do not see the links available on the YouTube channel below the video, click on Show More. That'll open or expand the screen where you'll see a lot of the other links, be it the email, the phone number, and the like. Again, we'll remind YouTube guests that they cannot use the Q&A link through the Teams live chat. We have a second question coming up from East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. The Yankee Doodle Bridge project will be 2 years behind schedule when completed. What steps are you taking to mitigate time and not have a cost overrun? I think this will be handled by a Connecticut Department of Transportation representative. I'll remind our representatives to please state their name and title when they're answering the questions.
Yes, good evening, everyone. This is John Delaberto, supervising engineer for District 3 construction. Yeah, the Yankee Doodle Bridge project is a unique one. The nature of the project led to the delays where it is a steel rehabilitation, much of the work in a deck repair project, and we really didn't know the nature of the deterioration until the contractor got in there and removed some of the rust. And once they did so, we found that the section loss on the steel was much greater than anticipated and really could not have been known ahead of time without removing that rust. And that led to really a complete redesign of the repairs. And likewise on the deck, the latex modified concrete on the deck, which is not common, led to the patching being more difficult to make those patches long-term, and also continuous deterioration throughout the deck that we kept finding new areas that were unexpected. So in relation to this project, the nature of that work is not expected here. It's a little more known. Our designers are taking every step possible to anticipate all aspects of the work. But Yankee Doodles is a rare case, and the nature of that work does lend itself to more delays.
Thank you, John, for that response. I do want to take this time real quick to remind everybody that we will have that post-meeting survey on SurveyMonkey that you can fill out. And also, if you want any of the discrimination literature, you can access all of that at the website. Also remind people that are on listening by phone tonight, if you have email, you can email us questions at dotproject102-295@ct.gov, or you can give us a call at 860-944-1111. Please leave a voicemail, and within that voicemail, if you could mention 102-295, that would be appreciated. See another question that came in. This is from East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. So East Norwalk still won't be getting sound barriers. I believe that'll be handled by Mr. Stark.
Hi, Dom. Yes, thank you again. Yes, as noted in the presentation, this project does not meet the criteria for sound barriers from a federal standpoint to obtain the federal funds. And again, to repeat what I said earlier, to utilize state funds to construct new noise barriers in a new location, that would take an act of the legislature to go in that direction.
Thank you. Again, that was Brett Stark, BL Company's liaison engineer with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I think we'll move right into the next question from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. Where are property takings? I believe we're going to be hearing from Jeff Keefe from AECOM on this question.
Thanks, Dom. I'm Jeff Keefe from AECOM. On this project, we have 2 temporary construction easement takes, both on the east side of Saugatuck Avenue. The 2 properties are one immediately north of the highway right-of-way line, and the second one is immediately south of the highway right-of-way line, just north of Charles Street. And those 2 construction easements will be extinguished once the property or once the work is completed.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Again, I want to reiterate, we got some questions coming in, and that's great. The more questions we get, the more responses we can give. If you're on the live Teams chat, obviously you can get on board on the question and answer on chat by phone 860-944-1111. Leave a voicemail and please reference 102-295. That's the project number for the Connecticut Department of Transportation. By email, best way to reach us, dotproject102295@ct.gov. Looking on the Q&A now, I see that we got another question coming in. Says this time frame conflicts with Walk Bridge and East Avenue reconstruction in East Norwalk. Detours off of exit 16 will create gridlock. Lane closures will result in cars and trucks cutting through Route 136 to Westport. This note came in from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association as well, and I'm going to leave it up to the design team to answer this. Please state your name and title.
Hi, Dom. This is Brett Stark again. Yes, again, we do recognize, as noted in the presentation, that there will be multiple construction projects occurring at the same time here. When it comes time to undertake the lateral slide weekends, that work will be publicized and coordinated extensively in advance to ensure that there are no simultaneous full closures or major activities that are going on that would create the extensive gridlock. Again, regarding the detours here, what we have planned is that detours during the lateral slide period will be signed for use of exit 16, or excuse me, exit 18, the Sherwood Island connector, and that would also apply for the closure period for the northbound on-ramp at interchange 17. Other than that, it's hard to control what local folks may wish to do during these periods, but as noted, we will be seeking to use expanded state and local police officers at key intersections to assist in mitigation where possible.
Thank you for that response, Brett.
Brett, I'd just like to add, this is Jeff Keefe with AECOM. The specific work on the ramps where detours are required for the other ramps, those would be off-peak hours and would be reopened during the peak hour operations.
Thank you for chiming in on that as well, Jeff. Next question coming in is, since the project is approved, funded, and ready for summer bids, is there any opportunity to postpone it until after all East Norwalk projects are complete? Go ahead, Brett.
Okay, thank you, Dom. Again, Brett Stark. I'm going to say at this point in time, we would not be looking to postpone this project. We do have environmental permits that have expiration dates attached to those, and we want to make sure we're moving forward. This job has been around a long time. Also, I would just add that I can't speak to exactly the term for the East Norwalk projects related to the Walk Bridge, but again, we would look to coordinate to the best degree possible here. But I think we do want to, move forward with this project at this time.
Thank you for that response to the question. Brett Stark again, CLE for the DOT, Connecticut Department of Transportation. Just want to give another reminder to everybody. You can send your questions in by MS Teams Live if you're joining us tonight through MS Teams. By phone, 860-944-1111. We'd love to hear from you. DOT Project 102-295 at ct.gov is by email. You can access the project webpage at portal.ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. On that website, you can get all these links and the links also to the survey that we'd love for you to, the voluntary survey we'd love you to fill out, and all of the Title 6 notices that go with it. I do want to make a comment. You can make comments tonight or questions, but we are accepting questions through the comment period through June 17th, 2021, preferably by email or by phone, which I mentioned earlier. We're going to move on to the next question. Since the project is approved, funded, and ready for summer bids, I think we just answered that question. I apologize. We wanted to know prior to bid awards exactly where construction staging will be for equipment, materials, and employee vehicles. I believe the staging is going to be answered by one of the DOT representatives. Please state your name and title.
Yes, thank you, Dominic. This is John Deliberto again, supervising engineer with District 2 construction team, or 3 rather. Yeah, so unfortunately, it's extremely difficult to map out the staging areas ahead of time. There are quite a few areas available within the state right of way, in the ramps and on the side of the highways. We do anticipate the contractor to use those. Another option they have is to seek out agreements with private and public property owners on their own, but they're not able to do that without permission. And with staging areas they use really heavily depends on the equipment that they choose to use and the sequence of operations, the materials. If they decide to order them early and stage them early, they'll need more space if they buy a lot of the materials early. So unfortunately, prior to award and working with the contractor to understand their plan, it's really not possible to delineate all staging areas. And if we did, it would almost certainly change because the contractor often requests additional or different areas depending on their specific means to construct the project.
Thank you very much for that response. Again, we're going to be moving on to more questions as they're starting to come in. Apologize, but technology being what it is, there is a slight delay as they get uploaded into the system. We are going to answer all the questions here tonight. I do want to take this moment to remind everyone that after the presentation, a recording of the formal presentation will be posted to YouTube after this live event. Closed captioning will be included for non-English translation options. That'll all be available on that recording. I see another question has come up. We're going to go to it right now. This comes from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. We want to know prior to bid awards. I think we are on that one. We are planning for, and I apologize, I'm reading ahead. What are you planning for noise attenuation during overnight construction? People need to sleep regardless of decibel standards. And I think we're going to Rob Nowak on that with the Department of Transportation.
Thanks, Dominic. My name is Robert Nowak. I'm the construction project engineer on the project. Regarding the noise, we are all aware that we want to get a good night's sleep. We're no different than anyone in the neighborhoods surrounding the project. As you know, construction comes with a lot of noise, as there's a lot of noise on the highway itself. Typically, we like to, most all the equipment comes with some kind of muffler system. Obviously, there's activities that require some modification in a short durational period of time. If there's a complaint regarding the noise, my staff, when it comes on board, will field the complaint. The procedure is to obviously check out the complaint with a noise meter and realize what the noise is at that location. If it does hit the 90 decibels or in that close proximity, we're going to modify our operations to minimize the amount of noise at that location that the noise is being read from the meter. The contractor is aware of the requirements necessary to maintain a noise level of less than 90 decibels, and we'll make every effort to accommodate for all the residents in the area. Thanks, Dominic.
Thank you very much for that response. They keep coming in. We're just trying to stay up with the questions at this point. I apologize for the slight delay as they come in. As you know, it takes a little time for you to type them. It takes time to move them over into the Q&A sequence. We want to make sure we address everyone's needs tonight. Those of you on YouTube, we want to hear from you. We want to make sure that you can click on the show more button. It'll give a drop down. It'll provide the email address and a phone number where you can call in and give us your responses. I suggest everyone, or I'd recommend everyone, visit the project webpage. On that webpage is a lot of information, including the the links to the recordings from tonight, and all of the information that we're providing as part of this live event tonight. Looking over, okay. In terms of the standards, I have to refresh my screen. I apologize. I'm working through the screen right now. Next question that I see popping up right now is another noise. Why? It comes from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. Why can't state funds be used to finally install sound barriers for the missing highway portion in Norwalk? I believe that's going to Mr. Brett Stark.
Yes, Dom, I'll get that one too. And if you could just add the one below that as well here, I'll answer both in.
Yes, I will. Second part to that question, I'll reiterate the first part and I'll add the second part in right now. Why can't state funds be used to finally install sound barriers for the missing highway portion in Norwalk? Second part, same person, East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. So did the Department of Transportation actually request the state funds for barriers? They can't allocate if you don't ask.
Okay, thank you. Again, this is Brett Stark. As I noted in the earlier response and during the presentation, the allocation of state funds for new noise barriers in a new location requires an act by the state legislature. I further understand that the way it works is that a local legislator has to be the one to initiate the request. It's not a matter of DOT requesting the funds.
Thank you for the response on that question, or double question, Brett. Appreciate that. Again, questions are coming in. They're being loaded into the queue. I have to keep regenerating on my end so people understand why there's a small delay. I want to make sure that we capture those questions and get you the answers that you require for the questions that you're asking. Make sure you visit the project webpage, portal.ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. We've got another question coming in right now from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. Is the Department of Transportation still considering a diverging diamond interchange for exit 16? I believe Andy Fessemeyer from the state, the Department of Transportation is going to address this. Andy?
Yeah, thanks, Dom. Yeah, this is Andy Fessemeyer from the DOT. Regarding exit 16, I think there's a project right now, 102-331, and right now it's in the concept stage. I believe everything is on the table still, including the diverging diamond. It's early on. The contact person there, and I don't know if we can, if there's maybe Justine will type it into here, is Matt Vale, and his email is Matthew. It's MATTHEW.Vail, VAIL @CT.gov. That would be the best person to contact. He's managing that project for interchange 16.
Perfect. Good answer to that question. We're moving through, again, updating and regenerating. Just so you understand the process, we are fielding phone calls, emails, chat, all simultaneously. They are basically pushed into one area, so we make sure that we can capture everyone's questions and concerns and comments about the project. With that said, we'll announce the project webpage one more time, portal.ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. That's going to be the best location for information about this project moving forward. You can contact us. I want to remind you the comment period does go through June 17th of 2021. We'll take questions up to that. The preferable method for those questions is obviously by email, dotproject102295 at ct.gov. Phone number to reach us at, leave a message at this number with the project number 102295 860-944-1111. Okay, there's some questions coming back up here. Let me just make sure I'm on the correct question. All right, we've got this. This is an email came in from the Westport Shellfish Commission. And I'll read as follows. How will the project remediate stormwater runoff into the Saugatuck River? Does this project meet the new EPA MS4 mandates about stormwater runoff remediation, as well as Connecticut DEEP's 2019 general permit for the discharge of stormwater? It is requested that runoff abatement provisions be addressed now while the bridge is being worked on. I'm going to dish that one over to the team for a response. Please state your name and position or title.
Again, this is Brett Stark with BL Companies. Yes, this is a question that we've received before as part of our permitting process. At this time, our response is first off that the work that is being performed on the Saugatuck River Bridge as part of 102295 is effectively maintenance type work. It's deck joint repair and minor concrete repair here. The Saugatuck River Bridge was previously replaced. That bridge, the project at that time was permitted in accordance with all pertinent environmental policies that were in place at that point in time. Regarding the MS4 question, under the MS4 program, DOT is responsible for reducing stormwater runoff from impervious areas to the maximum extent practical. On project 102295, we've looked at opportunities to install stormwater quality best management practices, and our overall goal as an organization is to attain a 2% statewide reduction in directly connected impervious areas relative to its owned infrastructure. The proposed improvements under 102295 as designed will decrease the directly connected impervious area for the project corridor from 29.9 acres pre-construction to approximately 19 acres post-construction for an overall reduction of 36.12%. Basically, oh, sorry, Don, I just want to, overall here, we've developed our project in accordance with MS4 program criteria, and we will receive those quantifiable reductions. Again, the scope of repairs for the Saugatuck River Bridge is limited within the larger context of the overall safety improvement project and does not involve any work within or directly discharging to the Saugatuck River.
Thank you very much for that response, Brent. Back to another question on the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. We're going back to staging again. Contractor agreements with private property owners can and do negatively impact residential abutters. Can you make it mandatory that the DOT must approve all staging agreements prior to signing? I believe those agreements. I believe that's contractor staging. I'm going to leave that up to the group to decide. State your name and title when you're answering the response.
Yeah, thank you, Dominic. This is John Deliberto again with the construction team. And yeah, if the contractor is operating in accordance with all local and state regulations and the property owner does agree for them to use their property and there's no environmental restrictions, unfortunately, we don't really have a say that I'm aware of. We do require the contractor to furnish the written agreement to us. However, with that said, if from the community there's complaints or reasons why there's an issue with the contractor staging area, we will work with the community and the contractor to see if we can find an alternate area, maybe put up some fencing, try to alter the contractor's hours of operations if possible and feasible in order to accommodate those hardships that the community is facing. So yeah, we have to stick with what the regulations are and really the contractor's agreement with a private property owner. If we restrict that, we may have to, pay for any costs that are involved with that restriction. And we could look at that if the hardships are enough. So yeah, if anything comes up where the contractor's activities are negatively impacting the community, please reach out to the project team and we'll do what we can to mitigate those.
Thank you very much. The next question comes from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. The comment is 90 decibels is way too loud, especially in winter when there is reduced foliage and humidity. I believe we're going to go to Bob Nowak with the Connecticut Department of Transportation.
Thanks, Dom. Again, appreciate it. Bob Nowak, Construction Project Manager. Typically in the winter for construction, it runs, the project does have a winter shutdown period, so there's no real major anticipated construction activity through the winter, which is December 1st through March 31st. Now again, late fall, early spring, there's no foliage, and we understand that. But the major generators of noise on this project is more for the weekend demolition of Bridge 62. The noise that you can anticipate throughout the project duration would be banging at tailgates, heavy equipment at some point in time isolated to the highway work, right? There's not a lot of heavy banging as was attributed to the Strawberry Hill project, which really there really wasn't on that project either. So we're not really anticipating a level of noise that would be typical on any bridge removal project where you have whole rams making all this noise. We don't anticipate any of that type of noise that's going to hit anywhere near the 90 decibels on the project. And again, we'll take measures to reduce that if it comes to fruition. So I don't anticipate there'd be a problem, but again, as the project unfolds, the public information, public outreach will have all the contact information necessary to reach the project staff to address any of your particular needs throughout the duration of the 3-year project. Thank you.
Thank you for that explanation. I just want to send it out again. A quick reminder, especially to our folks on YouTube. We want to make sure that you only see the small area on there. Hit show more. It'll bring up some areas where you can see the information to send in a question via email. The email is dotproject102295@ct.gov, by phone 860-944-1111. Leave a voicemail message and reference project 102-295. My computer just regenerated, so we've got another couple of questions coming up right now. Another question from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. Off-peak closures will coincide with heavy overnight traffic. Will trucks be required to use only US Route 1? I believe that question is going to be handled by Jeff Keefe from AECOM.
Thanks, Tom. This is Jeff Keefe from AECOM. During the I-95 construction, the lane closures on I-95 will be done primarily with lane closures and no detours are needed. For the specific ramp work, the ramps at interchange 17 will be routed to Sherwood Island Extension, exit 18, up over Route 1 and then down Route 33. For the 16 ramp closures, which also will be off peak and reopened during the peak hours, the planned detour routes there would be south on East Avenue to Route 136 and then over to exit interchange 17.
Jeff, can you confirm that? I believe I thought, sorry, that for interchange 16 ramp closures, we were sending folks down to the Route 1 exit in Norwalk.
Oh, actually, I think you're right. I think that was changed. So we're using the exit 16 interchange.
This is Andy Fessenmeyer from Project Manager DOT. I just wanted to add an important note, and it was in the presentation. Brett talked about it a little bit. Is a big part of this project, like other big highway projects in the state, is going to be the messaging and the public outreach that we're going to do. And, we're going to be messaging to traffic and especially trucks way outside of these project limits. They're going to be aware to stay away from this area. So especially the trucks who are long hauling through this area, they're going to be directed far before they ever get here. And if they're going to New York, they're going to be able to take 84. They're going to be able to take other routes. And we've seen on other projects that the numbers of the traffic really does go down, and the trucks really do, because they don't want to be there. So, and we're also from the south going to be messaging way south of here for the trucks going beyond Hartford and to the north. And so, there is going to be some detouring, but we're really optimistic that that a lot of traffic is going to avoid the area, and that's an important thing. And Brett, or I don't know, Brett, if you know kind of the limits of where we're reaching out to, where these guys are going to first start seeing signs to stay away from here, how far away that might be. Does anybody know that?
I don't know if we've nailed it down exactly at this point in time, Andy, but
Okay.
I believe we were talking minimally New York and New Jersey and potentially also Pennsylvania. Maybe one of the district guys can weigh in.
I'm sorry, Brad, can you repeat that question, please?
Do we know how far south, or what would be the plan for the reaching out to the neighboring states to make the advance notice of, like, during the lateral slide weekends of the major construction event on 95?
Sure, yeah, thank you. So this is John Diliberto with the construction team, and we are hiring a professional public relations firm for this outreach effort. Based on past experiences with similar type of traffic impacts, we do reach out to neighboring states, New York, even New Jersey, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. I wouldn't imagine going much further than that. Especially for the major closure, we would have those states run messages on their message boards to notify of traffic and the closure weekends. Yeah, so I would say as far south as New York and New Jersey, I wouldn't anticipate going further than that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for those responses to that question. Keep the questions coming. This is a great interaction with all stakeholders involved tonight. You can get your questions through the live chat, also through the email dotproject102295@ct.gov, or you can call us at 860-944-1111. Leave a voicemail message, reference the 102295 project. I'm going to move on to the next question. This is question from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. How does this work impact any future Northeast Corridor high-speed rail system alongside or underground abutting I-95? I believe Andy Fessemeyer with the Department of Transportation is going to field that question.
Yeah, thanks, Dom. This is Andy. Yeah, we don't think there's really any impact. All of our work is within the highway right of way. Well, basically within the highway corridor that's already there, and the rail system understands that. So our work here really isn't going to affect their plans either way.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that response. I'm going to jump out of line for a second. I see that the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association did post a question, and we provided a written response right here on the chat. I want to make sure everybody on the call tonight can understand it. They said, how do we access the chat and the Q&A transcript from tonight's meeting? First of all, I want to remind everybody, someone's on without a mute, talking in the background. Apologies for that. But I want to remind all of our listeners tonight that this recording of the formal presentation, all the questions and verbal answers will be posted on YouTube after the live event. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available at that time. We responded to the question about access to the chat and QA transcript. If you send us along contact info, we can provide you with a list of questions asked. All the answers are provided verbally, and a recording of the entire meeting will be posted to the web page within a few days. If you don't feel comfortable doing the live chat, go ahead and use the email address, dotproject102-295@ct.gov, You do have the option of dropping us a call at 860-944-1111. I would reference the 102-295. If you don't have that information, you can go to the project website, webpage portal at ct.gov/ all one word, DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. I'm going to take another question now from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. Why is I-95 being reconstructed under the East Avenue Bridge number 60 when the entire bridge structure may need to be reconstructed? Apologies. I believe we're going to be handling that through Brett Stark, and also a little assist from Jeff Keefe.
Thank you, Dom. Yes, I'll start this again. This is Brett Stark with BL Companies. Yes, regarding the need to reconstruct I-95 underneath the East Avenue Bridge, the goal of this project is to tie into the work being done on the Yankee Doodle Bridge. Again, this will be geared towards the median reconstruction. I should note that regarding bridge number 60, we did obtain a design exception for the shoulder work there, so we will be recognizing that there may be a planned future project there. The work that we're going to do is going to be really focused on the limits of the highway that we can affect within the project or within that area. The resurfacing, some drainage improvements, etc. But realistically, again, kind of what Andy was alluding to a few moments ago there, the work that we're doing is, we'll maintain that the highway through this area in a state of good repair, even up until such time that any project for interchange 16 is undertaken.
Thank you very much, Brett. Seems to be a very coherent on that respect. Jeff, did you have anything to add? Hearing nothing, I just want to remind everybody we are on a platform, multiple platforms. What I do want to reiterate right now is another comment that was made on here from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. How many people, not including presenters, are on this forum? We did provide a reply in the Q&A, and for our YouTube listeners and viewers, there have been 18 separate attendees, not presenters, noted up to this point. We'll probably have a final number if it ebbs and flows throughout the night, just to make sure we reiterate that comment. Moving down through, and I just have to keep going back because I'm going in an order as they come up on my screen. We have one from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. Please provide details on project 102 through 331 East Avenue Bridge. Someone from the design team, actually I think someone from Connecticut DOT will be handling that.
Yeah, this is Andy Fessemeyer, project manager from DOT. That's also a question for Matthew Vale that should be directed to him. He will have any concepts and whatever the updates are on that project. And I think that email was published in for a previous question. So yeah, there it is again. So perfect.
So we've just put the response for that on the Q&A. Again, that's matthew.vale@ct.gov. That's for the 102-331 project. For those of you on YouTube, want to make sure that you can see the links provided. If you have to show more, it'll expand out and it'll show you the DOT project email, DOT project 102-295 at ct.gov. It'll show you the phone number 860-944-1111. Make sure you leave a voicemail message and reference the 102-295 project, which is what we're discussing tonight. We've got them coming in on the Teams live event chat right now. I'm going to be going to that in a second, but I do want to also reiterate and make sure people understand on the presentation tonight. We have a voluntary post-meeting survey. We really appreciate you going to www.surveymonkey.com, filling out that survey. That link, as well as the Title 6 notices, are at our portal.ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295, which is the project webpage. Going to be moving on to another question. I'm just regenerating my screen here. This is a comment only. This is not a question. I'm going to read it because we do take the comments here. It says environmental justice advocates might suggest East Norwalk not being treated fairly. Darien and Greenwich both got sound barriers and without additional capacity as far as we know. In fact, Darien even got replacement sound barriers, and in some areas they have double runs of barriers. Seems Norwalk is being neglected again by DOT and our state legislators. And that was a comment only. There's just a strict comment in terms of that one. Looking at the next, we've noted that comment. It's put into the Q&A, so I just want to make sure that we understand we have it up there. Okay, now we're moving on to another question. East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. There's a serious flooding on I-95 just north of exit 16, especially since Norwalk removed retention pond. How will this project reduce flooding? Merely by reducing impervious surface. And I'll go to the design team for an answer on that. Please state your name and title.
Okay, this is Brett Stark again from BL Companies. As part of the presentation, we talked about the potential or the those who have the idea of experiencing the flooding along I-95 in the vicinity of East Avenue. As mentioned, that flooding is attributable to the existing highway drainage system being undersized. As part of Project 102-295, we will be installing a supplemental drainage system here. That is shown on the attached screen in blue. Give me 1 second to activate the laser pointer here so you can see. So the existing trunk line drainage system in the median is this kind of this black line coming down the center here. It then goes off and works its way down through Mulberry Lane and then out discharges into the Norwalk River down here. We are going to install this new system, again highlighted in blue, that actually is going to take in the majority of the discharge, the stormwater from the corridor. It's going to be discharged through this new system into this underground infiltration system. Again, when the water that comes out of there will flow down through this vegetated channel underneath the Yankee Doodle Bridge into a new culvert that will be installed underneath Hendricks Avenue. And actually, we were going to modify we're going to repair and modify the existing outfall into the Norwalk River to accept this new pipe.
Thank you for that explanation. Brett Stark again, liaison engineer with BL Companies for the Connecticut Department of Transportation. We're going to slide into another question now from the East Norwalk Neighborhood Association. It's kind of a question. Can you bring up the detour maps? What will stop traffic from going down East Avenue to Route 136? You need to post no trucks on East Avenue, please. Was the comment made? If you give us a second, we'll probably try to have someone answer that from the design team. Please state your name and title.
Dom, this is Brett. Give me 1 moment here. I'm going to be bringing up Google Maps here for 1 second. Sorry.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I do want to reiterate again that the recording tonight will be out there on YouTube after the live event. There'll be some closed captioning involved in it too, so it's going to be included in non-English translation options, and it'll be available at that time. If you have trouble finding any of that information, you can contact us on our project webpage, portal.ct.gov/DOT-NORWALKWESTPORT 102-295. I believe. Obviously, we're on the Teams chat tonight. We want to make sure by phone, if you want to call in, 860-944-1111 is the phone number to reach us at. Just reference the 102-295 project. And the best way to reach us either during this presentation or afterwards is going to be by our email address, dotproject102-295@ct.gov.
Okay, Dom, thank you, and apologies for the delay to the folks listening and tuning in here. So again, I think it's a little easier to use the Google Maps here to convey what we're talking about in terms of the detour routes here. Again, what we have planned to do for signing of the detours here for this project, for those overnight periods when we're repaving the ramps on interchange 16. Traffic will be directed down to the interchange 14 ramp here to use Route 1 back into Norwalk as needed to access areas. Same thing with the northbound traffic. We'll ask them to work their way, advance if the northbound off ramp is closed, work their way up through there. On interchange 17, again, we're talking about using for those ramp closure periods, using the interchange 18 Sherwood Island connector ramps, again for advanced departure when the southbound off ramp is closed, or when the northbound ramp is closed. Regarding the aspect of trucks on East Avenue to 136, again, we are not planning to sign that as a detour route as part of this project.
Great explanation. Thank you very much for that explanation. Brett Stark again with liaison engineer for the Connecticut Department of Transportation. At this time, we appear to be caught up on questions. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes that if they want to ask another question, they can. We are currently caught up by email. You can do that after this live session at dot102-295@ct.gov or by phone, 860-944-1111. Leave a voicemail message. Just try to say it was for project 102-295, so it's easier to get to us. Again, the live chat will end with this event tonight, but you can access the project webpage, the portal, .ct.gov/DOT Norwalk Westport 102-295. We will be accepting comments open through June 17th of this month. So the 17th of this month, 2021. Just please remember the MS Teams chat function is only available during this live Q&A session. Also want to reiterate that the recording of the formal presentation will be posted on YouTube after the live event. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available at that time. And we'd appreciate that if you have time to go to our SurveyMonkey/r/RHN3SKT. That's a post-meeting survey. We'd appreciate any input or feedback that you could provide to us. You can find that link as well as the Title 6 notices for the public on our project webpage that I mentioned earlier. At this point, on behalf of the Connecticut Department of Transportation, I'd like to thank everybody for the questions that were provided and for viewing the presentation tonight. And I would like you to have a great evening. Thank you.